unravel the masterminds of the attack on the convoy of the General Overseer of Omega Fire Ministry, Apostle Johnson Suleiman. The State Commissioner of Police, Abutu Yaro, has recalled the Divisional Police Officer, DPO of Auchi, Ayodele Suleiman, over the deaths of a suspect allegedly involved in the attack on Apostle Suleiman. According to a statement by the police, the withdrawal of the DPO is part of measures to unravel the circumstances that led to the death of one of the surviving members of the gang that attacked the convoy. Julie, quite a story. I saw the convoy. I saw one of the car of the apostle, bullet reading, and I feel that people still died. 7.
You know, before we talk about the police, we should also talk about the attitude of our elite, the selfish attitude of our elite. Some of these rich people would invest in bulletproof SUVs and then give light-skinned vehicles to the people who protect them. So it's just similar to what happened to Senator
Uba?
Yes, Ifeanyi Uba. He walked away with his life intact.
The rest were wasted.
His people, his aides, and some of the security men guiding him were lost. Why? Because he had an armored vehicle, armored-plated vehicle for himself, protecting him. But his other people do not deserve such elevated protection. We lost them. If at least in your convoy, some of them have up to 10 vehicles on their convoy, the main people who protect you, are you saying that you can't find the money to allow at least 3 armored vehicles to accompany you? Those ones with, those ones with bulletproof vehicles for your security aids as well. I hate seeing policemen die in this manner, just protecting civilians and just dying cheaply like this. If billionaires who want police protection, the ones that we have evidence that they have armored vehicles that they are driving, they have vehicles that have protection against all these projectiles and all that, bullets from AK-47 and the rest. The police ought to insist. Something
for backup cars.
Yes.
There must be
the vehicles that will convey them.
Yes.
Need to be.
I'm telling you.
There was something happened many years ago at the airport here. Policemen were accompanying a bulletproof, a bullion van to a particular location. They parked them inside a 504 station wagon. And what did these robbers do? Because they were targeting the bullion van. They first took out these policemen. The way they were crammed like sardine in the 504 station wagon, they can't even offer any resistance. Because once the first shot is fired, you are struggling to come out. You are already, they packed all of you into that, they packed all of you into that vehicle. So it was at that point the NIG said, anybody who wants police to accompany their money or anything should provide enough vehicles so that they are not crammed into a small vehicle the way they were done. Those guys wasted all those policemen, although they were eventually arrested. You know, when you kill the police, somehow they will manage to find you. So in this case too, my mind goes back to what happened in the case of Ifeanyi Ubah. What's what people are saying? That the main people guide that their own vehicle should be either in front of your own or just immediately after yours. Shouldn't they be entitled to such vehicles with tactical capability, just like the one that you are driving? It's so sad. It's so sad. Yes, the police have done their thing. The only person that was alive that they could have held on to provide us with information. How did you people plan this thing? Who told you to do this? Which could have led to the arrest of others involved in it. You then decided to take his life.
Okay, Adekunle Yusuf is joining us too. Kunle, I saw this vehicle yesterday. If this is the vehicle that Apostle Suleiman traveled, that it was inside, this is not armor.
No, this is not.
This is not armor. I know armor.
No, the skin is light.
The number one, the armor, they don't, these windows, they don't have windows. They come together and the texture of
very
heavy.
Yes.
Very heavy. So I don't know, but it's so unfortunate that people will have to lose their life, as in 7. And whoever is going after Pastor Apostle Suleiman, I don't know what the motive.
Yes, you know, our religious leaders have become so popular now that they are
so rich.
God bless you, are influential.
Rich.
So much that
especially the Christian ones.
they are almost on the same level with our political leaders. I don't know of any big man of God today in Nigeria, general overseers and all that, that can say, I can walk freely without security. This does not mean they are committing any crime, but you know the hunger in the land, you know our people. So now, for somebody like Apostle Suleiman, you know, who kisses, you know, controversies once in a while, the police will need to do a very thorough job to be able to get to the root of this, you know, matter, because a lot involves controversies. Oh, you did this, you don't do this, you know, all the time. And with what I suspect, this is more than just a sudden thing. It must be a planned, you know, affair.
We just some people will say it's time for even our ministers to just tone it down a little bit in terms of display of affluence, wealth, and everything. That might not be.
Men of God.
I don't think that is even the reason. Whatever, even if you don't display affluence, kidnappers will come for you once you are a Christian cleric. Look at the prelate of the Methodist Church. They don't display affluence. Those
I think it's because those ones,
they know the congregation. See, that's where we are going. They know they have big congregation and they're likely to raise the money.
the pay ransom.
You go to Kaduna, a lot of the clerics that they are picking up there, they are not millionaires, but they continually get targeted because they think the church will come together and raise the money. The thing is, all of us, nobody is safe. If you in fact, with your face, that most people across our country have come to be familiar with, just pray that you don't get in contact with.
Not my face. You are more popular.
No.
Like, okay,
No, there's no survey that showed that.
No, you honest, like Gide that loves to go around the country. You need every security.
The thing is, all of us, this is the situation that we found ourselves. People until they kidnap you, before they will know how. That's why some people, they don't have money, they still say they should go and bring social amount of money. They do these things sometimes at random.
I read the story, a man in Ilorin, the man had to sell his car and had to put his house for sale.
Yes.
Because his, two of his sons, they needed 8 million naira. And he had already sold his car, and the only house he owns, put it up for sale. He said 24 hours, is ready to dispose
So
it,
someone
so
like
that I can pay the ransom.
Someone like Apostle Suleiman.
It's not funny.
No, it's not funny.
I'm telling you, this country has turned into
human lives
something else.
Human lives are involved. People, a lot of this, although Apostle Suleiman is not convinced that this is a case of kidnap, until investigation is carried out, we may never know the motive. But unfortunately,
the person that
would have given us more than a hint of what happened, you've taken his life.
Why are we like that?
No, the police is notorious for this. Remember, even how did the whole idea of Boko Haram start?
Yes.
It was the extrajudicial killing of Yusuf.
The military handed over Yusuf to the
police, and inside the police, he
was killed.
After the police arrested him, they then handed him over. It was while in their custody, that they took his life. And till today, that is what that anger.
Yes, that
made them to start targeting.
That's what gave birth to Boko Haram.
Yes, now.
Simple.
Ahanotu, the Nigerian hero, the Nigerian general who later became number 2 to the immediate past chief of army staff, was the one who arrested Mohammed Yusuf and handed him over
to the
alive.
Alive.
So they have this attitude of what
getting
even led to EndSARS. Is it not this extrajudicial killing? You turn yourself to a court of law that will now determine whether somebody gets death penalty or not. I mean, it's wrong.
And sometimes some people will say it's meant for cover-ups, just to make sure that...
Who knows?
Look,
now, this one...
Don't get to the root of the matter.
Now, if someone... I mean, anybody who
the only
knows
link
what he's doing, this is the only surviving person, the only person you can get hold of out of those who carried out the attack. And then you still took his life. People will just read meanings into it that you did it to kill evidence. I mean, it's wrong. But hopefully, I'm still convinced that we can still get to the root of this matter.
Okay, we'll keep track of it. Now, EFCC, the menace of vote buying is taking deeper roots in our electioneering process, and something drastic must be done to address it. In this regard, the Ilorin Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned 4 persons before Justice Matthias Agbola of the Osun State High Court, Osogbo, for alleged bribery of voters during the state governorship election on the 16th of July, 2022. They were arrested by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission at different polling units following credible intelligence that they were inducing voters with money to vote their preferred candidate. Jide, this is the first time I'm seeing this kind of thing. Prosecution of those guys that flood our filling polling units. But it might just, I know why you're laughing.
This one will just be laughing. People already, they've labeled you
because I know that this will not get to the root of it, but at least on the face value, yes.
No, let us even see them to be arresting these people. What I hate to see is the impunity. Don't do it. Don't
so brazen.
Yes, just do.
Polling units.
Stop doing it as if if you do it, that nothing will happen. You know that during the Ekiti election, some guests they did this live chat that they do. All those young guests. Immediately after they were giving money.
Yes, I saw that.
Is it Snapchat or what is it? They just did it showing them. Say, see, they've given us money. I said, so you can even flaunt the money that you are given. Is that bad in our country?
Yes.
That you are doing something that is wrong. You sold your conscience in public, and you are happy to announce it that you sold your conscience.
Hunger will not allow them.
So what kind of thing is this? So I know that increasing digitalization of our electoral process has made it more difficult for elections to be rigged. Ballot rigging used to be a lot common. In fact, ballot snatching too was a lot, very common. But now,
they're just wasting your time.
While we are happy that the power has returned to the hands of the voter, we can't be happy that the voter has now decided that in exercising that power, there's nothing wrong in selling his conscience. It's a good thing if you know
poverty, and in return,
you know,
so those guys collect
the voter himself has some of the blame. We should be happy that the electoral process is being rejigged, being fine-tuned, so that power can indeed reside in the voter. But for the voter to now abuse, in my view, the voter abuses that power by electing to sell his conscience to the highest bidder. This is wrong. We see elections in other places. It is in our country that I see people induce voters to vote for them the way we are doing. And now, the commercialization of the political process in our country is almost complete. Because every stage, you must spend money. Now, in my view, we can't stop at the person, I mean, the agent, because these are agents of these politicians. The people who direct the agents to go and bribe people to vote for them, and the people who get bribed on election day, they are just all culpable, and we should be arresting all of them, not just the person that we catch giving people money, the ones receiving it. And we can't claim that we cannot find anybody who received money. Both the giver and the taker are culpable. That's the point that I'm making. And for us to stop this madness, we have to go for the people who collect the money, go for the people who give out the money. That way, at least we can show that, look, this thing is not permitted and it has to stop. Otherwise, no matter what revolutionary steps we are taking to make our election more believable and all that, this ugly syndrome will continue to give our electoral process a bad name.
I don't know, so EFCC, on election day, this is something that, they just introduced, that, okay, they'll go and bust those guys that are distributing money here and there. We saw them in Osun, and we saw them in Ekiti State.
Well, let's see, but as far as I know, it's beyond EFCC. Because the magnitude of this crisis, even if you have times 10 the size of workforce of EFCC, this matter is far beyond EFCC. We need to do a lot. You see, politicians...
These are just scapegoats.
Because politicians too have weaponized, poverty. When you make people so poor, so hungry,
So 5,000 naira will make the difference. So 10,000 naira will just make their day.
People looking...
20,000 naira will make...
Desperately for anything, without thinking about the consequences of their actions. Truly, they want good government. They want somebody that can come and change their lives. But when it is time to make that decision, they wouldn't remember that it shouldn't go to the highest bidder. So, but it doesn't start on the election day. During the primaries, dollar flying all over the place. Where was EFCC? I mean, people did they arrest? While passing on ordinary folks, you should have. Yes, now if EFCC wants to prove that it is,
and they were present.
If EFCC wants to prove to us that we should actually clap for them, you should have gone for the big guys, the powerfuls. You understand? Who are doing it openly, dollars, in big sacks. So now, on election day, small fries who are already hungry. It's bad, but how many can you arrest? But let's make some people, scapegoats.
Okay. I have Kundu from Karo in Nasarawa State. Thank you for joining
us.
Yes,
Mr. Ayo, yes. Yeah.
Just go ahead, please.
Mr. Ayo. Mr. Ayo, you are doing a good job. Sir. You're one of the best. Babajide, good evening, Babajide. We love you so much. Yes, Babajide. We are always enjoying you wherever you are here. And the other person, Yes, yes. My name is Mundu Tekin from our local government, national state. Yes, Babajide, please, I would like to ask you, a question. This huge amount of money that VIP pays to the police who are guiding them, who is the person, spending that money? Is the money go to federal government? Is the money go to the pockets of the IG of police? That's number one. Number two, it's unfortunate that, such a thing, will happen. And I will not be surprised if this kind of attack on Apostle Suleiman was not an assassination attempt, because kidnappers can do this because those guys are serious. They are well organized. So I will not be surprised if this attack was not to eliminate him, to get him kidnapped, because a bishop was kidnapped in the east, and before you know, about 100 million was raised. And it was paid to them.
Thank you, Kundu.
And I will not be surprised if the police are involved.
Thank you, Kundu. Thank you for your contribution. All the major political parties are involved. I can tell you that.
There's no doubt about that.
There's no how you can plan for election in Nigeria now, and politicians will not plan how to bribe people.
Yes, it's part of the.
Despite the fact that they say it, that no, if they give you money, don't take it. Don't take it. But it's part of the.
They've done it. These days, the way they do it, they start sharing the money before election day.
Yes.
They start going even from house to house to share the money.
Yes.
Before election
and
day.
Food items.
They are not, even clothes.
Yes.
I know a particular state in the Northwest.
Festival in Osun State.
In the Northwest, these clothes, these 6 yards of cotton, a tampa, what's it called? Those are Ankaras, especially. They should share to women. They start doing this thing and sharing money to ahead of the election. So sometimes they do like 3 rounds because they know that the opponent too has capacity. So the voter gets to decide on who to give his vote to based on how many times you serviced the voter. This is what is happening. People are giving salaram ahead of the election in Osun.
Yes.
Salaram. You can imagine driving a trailer load of salaram and you are taking salaram from house to house. Is that election again?
And can EFCC detect that one?
Is that election again? How did we degenerate to this level?
Salah for that last year, for this year,
yes.
Was so, the RAM were so expensive.
Yes, they knew that people cannot afford it. So they were now giving the ram to people. They were taking it from door to door. So by the time election came, the person who had the opportunity to eat salah ram fresh. So that.
All right, we take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccines-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is from NPHCDA in partnership with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from MacArthur Foundation.
All I do is win. I wake up, I win. I close my eyes, and I win.
We got a emergency, girlfriend.
Keep up with me, come on, let's go. Keep winning till the world stops spinning. Independent women, come on, now let's get it. I'ma keep winning till the world stops.
Wow, you look great. Did you just come from the salon? Darling Superstar, braids that stay salon fresh no matter what.
Behind every high-performing organization is a clear strategy, an efficient process, and a productive team. At Crosstie Solutions, we strongly believe that every organization deserves a spot at the top. And that is why we focus on improving business performance through its people, process, and strategy. The core of our solution is centered around people development and management consulting. Since our inception in 2010, we've worked with over 40 organizations and have trained well over 4,500 employees within the government agencies, FMCG, oil and gas, media, banking, financial services, and education. Let's work with you today to improve your business performance. To book a free consultation with us, please visit www.crosstiesolutions.com or call 091 609 01017.
I invite you to join me and my host, the Governor of Imo State, His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodimma, at this conference and retreat for senior police officers.
Theme: the imperative of a Nigeria police strategic plan for peaceful elections.
The government of Imo State is pleased to host the conference and the retreat for senior police officers in Imo State.
Special guest of honor, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Special guest, all state governors, distinguished senators and honorable members, Minister of Police Affairs and other honorable ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, National Security Advisor, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs and Heads of Security Agencies, Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Chairman and Presidential Candidate of all political parties and civil society organizations.
I welcome President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, the Inspector General of Police, senior police officers, and other special invited guests to Imo State.
Date: 31st October to 2nd November 2022. Venue: Landmark Event Center, Owerri, Imo State. Time: 10 a.m.
Join us.
Thank you. From vote buying, we go to the warning by the United States of America. It appears that there is fire on the mountain, but the security agencies have told us to calm down. The United States has issued a security alert over elevated risk of attack on the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. According to a statement by the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, targets may include government buildings, places of worship, schools, markets, shopping malls, hotels, bars, restaurants, athletic gatherings, transport terminals, law enforcement facilities, and international organizations. Meanwhile, the Department of State Service, DSS, has called on Nigerians and foreigners in the country to remain calm as it is taking necessary measures to ensure safety of everyone. Julie, when I saw this report yesterday, it was so scary. And United States of America, when they give intel like this, you know that, look, this should be credible. And I'm sure our security guys should be able to be proactive, as in to get on top of this, that this will not end up as another Kuje prison break. Now we have an intel already, so the security level should be red.
Okay, so we should be
red alert in Abuja.
We should be vigilant at all times. When that attack was launched on our presidential guards, brigade of guards, the U.S. issued a warning at that time that people should be careful about places they go to, that the terrorists who carried out the attack would be planning to attack shopping malls in the city, bars, and even gardens. Abuja has plenty of those gardens, drinking dens up and down. In fact, at the rate it's going now, I don't think there is any part of our country where you have gardens where people drink and all that like it is in Abuja. In Lagos here, we don't have such gardens. Yeah, we have our usual drinking dens, You know, Nobalende, other places, people just drinking from morning till night we have. But in terms of just all the green areas, almost literally cornered for drinking, Abuja picks the cake in our country. So now, in the event of attack, they will be targeting those who, and some of them are so crowded that there is no order. Vehicles parked so close to one another, you struggle. Yes, so those areas, protection must be given to those areas, and there should be vigilance. You have to be able to check people. If anybody puts explosive devices in a vehicle and he rams it into vehicles parked in such gardens, it will kill a lot of people, because what I see is we have relaxed. The way we used to check vehicles.
They have their cells.
No, it's now established that in Abuja and other parts of the North Central and even Northwest, Boko Haram has found out places, because of the harassment that they are facing, harassment, I'm sorry to use that word, in the Northeast, they are now open other areas of influence outside of the Northeast. They've been doing this for 3 years. We spent a lot of time deceiving ourselves that, oh, the Kankara boys' attack was not carried out by Boko Haram, whereas it was Shekau that planned it with 2 bandit leaders. He was the first to release the video and pictures of those boys in captivity. So while Shekau and others were planning, setting up camps in the North Central and other places, they are localized in the Northeast. That's how we deceive ourselves. And when it's time to actually deal with the situation, we are not ready. So this is the thing. They now have cells everywhere. I think it was the Nasarawa governor, you know, he raised alarm a long time ago that these guys were in Nasarawa, you know. Now, the Zamfara, the essay to the governor on security, has also told us that they've set up cells inside Zamfara state, that they even invited other people to come and join them in dislodging some villages, you know. So now back to terror. Boko Haram does not just involve itself in kidnapping and all that. They also still carry out, up till now, terrorist attacks. And if we keep getting intels about Abuja, the earlier we do something about it, the better. Because if we don't do something, it may just catch us unawares. And the terrorists always like to surprise you when you think that it's all over. And that's why I'm asking for vigilance. They said eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We have to be vigilant, not just because these people have raised an alarm, but because it should be our duty to keep the seat of power safe. Remember, some years back, they bombed the UN building in Abuja there. So the checks that we used to do, the routine checks and even random checks that security agencies used to do in Abuja, that I can tell you a lot of them have stopped doing, they have to return to them. People coming into the city, the seat of power, they have to be checked. What's in that vehicle that you are carrying? You might just be lucky. Some people may put food items on top and actually put bombs underneath. So if we don't scale up our checks and ensure that we are ready for this thing, when they want to bring it, we may just be caught unawares.
I think we have the capacity to stem this tide.
I want to assume so. But the truth is, this is a huge question mark on our ability, you know, for intelligence gathering. If it takes, you know, outside, you know, powers to alert us to certain things within our borders.
They said, the Nigerian counterpart said they are aware of it, but they didn't want to cause panic.
I'm coming, and
that's why they didn't.
This is where I'm going, and that if the US has this with the solid relationship between the two countries, many of these things shouldn't be made public, because it can cause a lot of, you know, damage, even more harm than, good. You say you want to reduce consular services and this and that until the situation improves. Intergovernmental relations, this can be handled. You understand my point? Without making it looking like
people in Abuja now
for businesses, panic.
Tendency to be fair, for the atmosphere to be tense.
Yes, for businesses, panic is a big deal. So all these things, sometimes, why can't you work in cahoots with our government that we have this intel, work on this. If you now realize that the government is not serious or they are not ready, then you make public. But just going public that this and that, sometimes they have to think about it. It does more harm than good, as far as I'm concerned.
Do you agree with Adekunle?
Not totally, because even within our people, within our own security infrastructure, 44 security reports pointing to the possibility of Kuje prison. You can see even the anger of the Minister of Interior. Up till now, he's very angry because that was an attack that we should have stopped. The actionable intelligence that we needed was provided, though. The DSS came out to say, look, we provided, but we didn't act. So if the Americans will remember that, DSS issued this, nothing happened.
Let's protect our citizens.
Our people, let them know. Because if we keep it, if we keep the information to ourselves, these people may still not do anything, and they will waste our people. So for them to have acted like that, they may have their reason.
Thank you for staying with us, Wale.
Yeah, good evening, Ayo.
Good evening.
Okay, Omar Tata. Good evening.
I agree to sir.
Good evening.
And Adekunle, God bless you. I just have two brief comments on the bribery before election. Don't let us deceive ourselves. The politicians, reckless display of wealth on their part, and weaponization of poverty. It is poverty that is making these people to be so susceptible to these politicians. We must try and do something. Let me tell you, on the main road, people are hungry and begging. So if you give them money, they will collect. Secondly, the timely advice, security advice by the American Embassy and UK. Please, don't let us concentrate all our efforts on Abuja alone. Focus on Kano, Lagos, and other big cities. Because these people may want just
Thank you for your contribution, Wale.
God bless.
Thank you. So as you were saying, Jude.
Yes, they may have their reasons that a country that even
the security guys might not be too reliable.
What is the level of even interagency cohesion between the DSS, the army, and the rest of them? The level of cohesion is just not good enough, because I can't understand why so many reports will be issued and action will not be taken until those good-for-nothing people now storm the place and release some of the most hardened terrorists in our country. They went going from cell to cell and released just their people.
Spending hours.
Yes. So
they left.
That's why they must
there
have
was no response.
No, they left on their bikes, left the area, and went into the bush. We didn't make any effort to stop them wherever they were. So those people, I don't think they have that much faith in us.
I think
that they will now say, okay, let us just give information to the Nigerians. Let's not cause panic. If there will be panic, let there be panic. But the people need to know that, look, these are dangerous times. Take precautions. Do your best to stay safe.
All right. We'll take.
You and your hair go through a lot. The heat, rain, chaos. It's a non-stop war against total breakdown. But just like you, your hair can stay strong no matter what. Mega Growth Break-Free Daily Leave-In Strengthener for all hair types is infused with a unique blend of natural oils and conditioning proteins that helps protect your hair. Mega Growth Break-Free, your daily defense against breakage.
This blessing be yours forever to keep a calm and peaceful sleep.
Removes mosquitoes so you can sleep a calm and peaceful sleep. Good night, Electric.
Good afternoon, Oga. Now you be the landlord.
Yes, Nami.
Oga landlord, me go need 1 room for this your house, so.
Okay, sure you get work where you dey do.
Yes, I be nurse.
You don't go dey owe me be that now.
Now how much be your rent, safe?
Not just 90,000 naira. Wait, oh, this guy, where you come from, Sef?
Oga, I come from Akamata.
Akamata, no talk am again. My spirit and Akamata people no dey ever join.
Oga, wetin happen now?
Come over for my compound. Na so baba thing na people sabi do for that Akamata. Come over here.
Haba, Papa, wetin this innocent girl do you now? Now people like you, they spoil Nigeria, Papa.
I think you don't see am now. My people they talk say jollof rice wey dey for bottom pot today go dey top of cooler tomorrow. As I take need you now, so you self need me. Because now one mama we get, we be Nigeria. Make we love ourselves. Because now only together we go fit make our country better for us and our children them. One heart plus one love equals better Nigeria. Now the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government, they bring in this message.
Thank you for staying with us. And finally, Nigeria continues to count its losses as severe flooding ravaging many parts of the country refuse to abate. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has tasked state governors and other stakeholders to address the flooding problems in the country. Meanwhile, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, said about 600 persons have lost their lives and 1.5 in need of humanitarian assistance, 60% of which are children and at risk of waterborne diseases, drowning, and malnutrition. Jide, as so I was told some areas that this has turned into a kind of epidemic, that cholera has broken out.
It's to be accepted.
A lot
It's
of
to be expected.
Like in Bayelsa State, that washed a particular cemetery that had to dead bodies.
Corpses were floating on the water.
Dead bodies floating across. You can imagine how terrible that situation is going to be. People are going through a lot today.
Yes, this thing is far greater than has been reported. Far greater. And it is the people who are going through it that can best paint the picture. Honestly, what we are seeing on our screens pale, in the face of the real pains that our people are facing.
Yeah.
12 local governments in Benue and more than 20,000 hectares of farmlands washed away. How do people cope with that? Yes, people are harvesting their crops before the due date. The same thing.
Next year is
especially
going to be
rice.
tough. Okay, look at it. Look at it.
You know, rice, for example, rice takes several months. So it's not something that you can say immediately this flooding, this floods recede, you can quickly cook, plant rice. No. Some of these crops need at least 9 months. So how do you deal with such a situation? People have lost virtually everything that they have. Houses, even the houses now, a lot of them will have to be demolished because having been compromised by flooding, they will give way in the final analysis. So in order for it not to even kill people, those
for
houses
days,
must be developed.
how can you have water on your foundation?
Yes.
Down for days.
It will weaken the integrity of the building. So this is what our people are going through. You can see that the international community is continually talking about the problem. Much more than, it's like in Nigeria, no matter how grave a situation is, we have thick skin. We just make it look like it's not a big problem. But the international community is coming in, even donating to us, showing concern. Because this is a serious problem. Look at that house. Look at almost the entire building covered. Some of these what we are seeing is up to 10 meters deep. Flood. Not river, being about 10 meters deep. You can imagine a lot of people will drown, people will die. So I'm not surprised that the UNICEF is saying more than 600 dead. Because even the Nigerian authorities have confirmed this same figure.
600.
Yes, I think about 1.5 weeks ago.
Yes.
So it's a serious problem that we are facing. There will be hunger. It's just normal. It's not a doomsday prophecy. There will be hunger because people have lost their farmlands.
And from the north to the south, it's not just one section of the country.
No.
If I tell you what is of what is happening in Imo State, if you go to Jigawa, if you go to many states, so it's a case
Anambra,
of
Delta.
the biggest problem we have this year. Now, flood, and it's everywhere. Except
we started experiencing it in Ogun State, Lagos State. All these Ajuwon, the boundary areas.
Maybe they will release the
I think they started releasing the water.
Some days ago, you will see Governor Uzodinma, sharing relief materials. There are like 18 communities sacked. Nowhere to sleep. They had to relocate to, I think, a primary school. They were giving them food once per day and all those things. When you look at Jigawa, several farmlands,
about 200
wiped
people
out totally.
In Jigawa.
So if you go
200 people.
So, and believe me, sometimes I ask, what was the best solution? We share ecological funds, we do all this. Don't we really prepare for this?
That we don't have the capacity.
If we'll take a look at that of Imo State, they said the problem started 2012. Since that 2012, flood tragedy, those areas have never rested. It's always been a recurrent, crisis. I don't know how the state governors can handle
the
it.
minister
The federal government will have to join in this matter.
The minister is saying that that this thing has nothing to do with the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon, that the dam, the release of water from the dam accounts for just 2% of the flooding problem in our country. Now, what we now discover from the ministers, from the interview conducted the minister, is that Nigerian authorities did not have any form of communication with Cameroon until they released the water. It was after the release of the water that we now started having communication with them. At least there should be, at that level,
exactly.
Based on protocol, you should be able to say, look, we want to begin to release our water. And all of the, the communities that have River Benue passing through them, they will be victims. Yet, there's no communication of any sort.
Exactly, that's what people in Imo State were saying. That the problem got worse when they released. And how can that happen?
So some state government, they started opening IDP camps.
Of course.
For these people, because if your house is here,
okay,
just
look at this one. Just look at this. Just look at this.
Discover top to bottom.
There's nothing you can do.
This is from top to bottom.
You can only just retrieve some of your material.
There's nothing you can retrieve here.
This is a highway passing through the...
Okay, I have Etienne on the line from Uyo. Etienne, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am Etienne Yang, and I am calling from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I so much appreciate your work on the studio. Mr. Babajide, I like the way you're putting things because you don't want to put it so hard. But we cannot keep on deceiving ourselves. We have to call a spade a spade. The situation in Nigeria is bad, and I don't know how we are going to get out from it. It is the politicians, if they are not called to order, if the politicians are not called to order, I don't see Nigeria existing in maybe the next 50 years because the people are hungry. The people are hungry. That's one. Two, for the Apostle Johnson Suleiman, that it is absolutely true that they are trying to hide the evidence. The only person that would have been a source to attack to the discovery has been killed. Who killed the person?
Thank you, Etienne. So finally, we must do something, and they predicted that next year it's going to be more than this.
Even this year, we have not seen the worst.
We are talking about next year. What of this year?
It's still on.
Talking about
from the predictions, we haven't seen. We have not even seen half of what is coming. from the predictions.
And we're prepared.
So it's not just that we will lose houses, we will lose farmlands, we will lose lives, and
the resultant effect.
And the problem we have in Nigeria now that the politicians that should roll up their sleeves are not ready. They are bothered about election, re-election, and all those. See them fighting all those things. They are not bothered about anybody.
What is the strategy in place to mitigate this? It's not
so
simply
when I
by
saw,
sharing money.
When I saw
you
Vice
have
President,
to do our best to make sure this water recedes.
When I saw Vice President saying the governors, I said, which governor? Those who are busy fighting, looking for appointment, looking for next post, re-election and all those things.
Preparing for 2023.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Post 2023. Wow. It's a terrible
and
thing.
When these things happen, they will not go there, send somebody there. When on all these big crises, you won't see governors there, they will send somebody there.
My concern is if these rains don't stop, everyone knows that as a result of global warming, we have irregular rainfall pattern. Now, you can't predict. In some places now, the rain should have stopped, but it's still raining. That's the effect of climate change that we were toying with. Now, if it continues like this, in Kogi, in Imo, in Anambra, in Delta, in Bayelsa, one of the worst estates, all the local governments in Bayelsa are in trouble. What do we do? What do we do if it continues?
Adekunle Yusuf, thank you. Thank you for your contribution. And BQ, thank you for always being there. And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us every Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube,